Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys can obviously see on the table, we have been able to pick up a Coronation Starscream. However, as excited as I am to take a look at this, my excitement is a little bit tempered because you probably can tell what's wrong with this. Because Hasbro has their storefront through Amazon that they sell stuff, and that's where I got this through. However, as you can see, the box has had just the absolute dog snot beat out of it because they didn't ship this box in another box. They just shipped it in a bag, like with no cushion, no nothing. So, you know what? The box is technically just paperwork, and as long as the stuff inside is not broken or damaged, I can live with a beat up box. Yet, when we look at his figure, he's looking pretty crispy. Not overall perfect, because as you might have already picked up on, he looks a little bit bland in the details. Yet, whenever I went back and watched that scene where he is actually attacking RC and Springer, this is actually pretty accurate, especially on the fins, because he doesn't have anything on these or the blue parts. However, I do like how it looks. This Earth mode version of Starscream has always looked good since it came out in Earthrise, which, speaking of that figure, now they've kind of played a game with as far as lightening some things on the one or the other version and darkening them on one or the other. So to start off, we were just talking about the tail fins. You can see that the animated series one again is missing on the actually movie correct version. But as you are also probably clocking, that is one of those things that is significantly lighter on the Studio Series version. Now, one thing that people will actually address is actually the paint job, which it is a little bit brighter on the Studio Series version, with also the striping being brighter, the sigils being bigger, and as you can see over here, striping and paint job is darker on the animated series version, with the Decepticon sigils being definitely smaller. But the other thing that is significantly different is that the canopy is just a slight bit darker on the Studio Series version as opposed to the animated series version. So that's just a small little thing. Plus, the one thing you probably picked up on is, and that is these little gray panels, which as you can see are not presently painted in that way on the animated series. Now, one of the significant things that comes with this Coronation Starscream is his cape, which, as maybe you have already clocked, it's not on Starscream right at this moment, because as it is a purple cape and it does have a combat port, you can attach it to other figures, especially if you wanted to recreate certain scenes from certain comics and the like. But the weird thing about this cape is that the port is off to the side. That's so that it can fold up and rest more easily when it's plugged into Starscream, which I really don't like because in some instances it limits the posing that you can do on Starscream, tilting in one direction. But you know what, that's just a minor nitpick. And thus we have the command chair from
the most powerful Decepticon warship in Transformer history. The ship that shot down the Ark itself. The Nemesis.
And I have to say that this is probably one of the biggest pieces of this set, and it was a major tipping point because I've always wanted a throne for Megatron. Because let's face it, what you're seeing right now, this is probably how it should be, even though they market this thing as being a throne for Starscream, which is just stupid. But this throne in and of itself is also a little bit of a thing for me because it is the same command chair that Optimus Primal and Megatron from the Beast Wars had their scuffle in, or on.
Oh well, come on, let's have it. The usual destiny and honor speech. Speech this.
So, as you can see, fabulous detailing, wonderfully sculpted, looks awesome. And then when you go around to the back, it is maximized for storage with Starscream's crap. So you can put the additional set of null rays, which we'll see here in a little bit, the cape, the crown, and the shoulder armor, and it's all dedicated. So yeah, definitely loving that. All right, So now that we are in robot mode, as you can see here, the blues again on the Studio Series are definitely proving a lot lighter. The red that is on his torso is a darker shade, but one of the more significant details, as you can see, is the opening and closing hands that the Studio Series Starscream is now rocking, which, to be honest, I kind of like that. I like that on Optimus and any other figures that have been incorporating that. Now, another interesting side detail is, as you can see on the Studio Series, he has a much darker face than the Earthrise guy back here. So I don't know why exactly they did that. So the Studio Series 1 in some aspects does outdo the original Earthrise, but then the reverse is completely true, because there's some things that I like on the Earthrise figure that are just not present at all on this version of Starscream. So with that being said, I don't know which version is superior, if there is one at all, to be honest. So speaking of superiors, here he is with his boss, the one and only Megatron. I mean, when you look at these guys, this is classic G1 Decepticon imagery with these designs looking as awesome as they do right here. Now, to show you guys, there is a difference between two sets of null rays that Starscream does come with. This is the standard Earthrise version, whereas this is actually the new Studio Series version. And so basically you can just see that they just don't include this top part, and that's actually to help it accommodate within the shoulder armor piece. Now this one right here, this peg actually plugs into this port right here, whereas this will actually go into the secondary one. And so it's not actually attached at the arm, but it's actually attached to the shoulder armor. So there he has part of his upgrades. But what about the royal arraignment? And as you can see here, once he is in his royal arraignment, he looks so awesome, also striking the pose from the movie.
My fellow Decepticons!
But when we look at the actual figure, you can see here is the cape in its more collapsed position, which, you know what, doesn't look bad. Okay, that's fine. But whenever you go ahead and spread it out, as you can see, it has a natural tilt, like we just saw in that photograph. However, if you wanted to tilt it back the other way, you can only go so far because of where this nose cone support arm is. You can't tilt it back the other way. So it's pretty much locked like this. It's not perfect. So in the movie, we actually know that Galvatron travels to Cybertron and terminates Starscream before heading to Earth. Well, what if Galvatron had headed to Earth first, planning to deal with Starscream later? Well, we can kind of see that even though this get-up is truly ceremonial, what if it was just part of his normal battle garb? Well, you can see Starscream here is actually soaring through the sky, looking magnificent with or without troops. And as he is the new Decepticon king, at least until Galvatron fries him, he is killing Autobots right and left, and of course, being smug as he is, he's sitting upon the Decepticon throne that, well, as we all know, he's getting ready to lose. So, in the meantime, he does look fabulous, especially with his two bodyguards, especially the guy on his right being a co-conspirator, if you know what I mean.
Jettison some weight, or I'll never make it to Cybertron!
Fellow Decepticons, Astro Train has requested that we lighten our burden. Oh, how it pains me to do this!
Because all of a sudden he needs to jettison some weight in the weightlessness of space? How convenient. But overall, is it worth the price of admission? Well, if you already have the Earthrise Starscream, you pretty much know what you're getting with the core figure, minus the paint apps and everything. So it's really just if you want the accessories that go with that figure. However, I actually am pretty pleased with it. Like I said, I've always wanted a throne for Megatron, so this is going to work out just fine. And with that being said, guys, this was our look at the Studio Series 86 Coronation Starscream. And until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.
Who disrupts my coronation?
Coronation Starscream. This is bad comedy.